a.m. It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're joined by Rocky Chavez, member of the California State Assembly, candidate for the United States Senate. And as a result, you are traveling up and down the state. My guess is you'll hit all 58 counties one day soon. What are you hearing on the trail, sir?
Well, I'm hearing on the trail that there's a lot of concern. And we saw this rise with Barry Sanders and with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
What you're actually seeing is people out there are asking the basic question, what is the role of government? Either they want more of it or they want less of it. But it's a distrust of government.
But what's remarkable about the Sanders-Trump phenomenon is they are coming at it from different political philosophies, but yet are tapping into a very similar frustration. And California is really a microcosm. I know we're theoretically kind of a blue state, but you really look up and down the state, we got a lot of blue pockets, red pockets, and you're seeing all those pockets.
That's exactly right. And there's elements in California that, as you know, are very, very conservative.
Right.
They're all with Trump. Small government, get in my way, support business. Why don't I have water?
Right.
So there's this really good opportunity to have discussions on solutions.
But let's talk about the Trump candidacy. I think you're in a unique position in that you are a Republican, you're also Latino, and I think it's fair to say that the Trump candidacy has caused some concern amongst Latinos, Democrats and Republicans. Do you have that concern?
Totally. I think his plan for immigration is a non-starter.
Right.
You're not saying
the self-deportation.
Self-deportation.
Right.
That's not even understanding the history of California. Look at the names of all our major cities.
Right. Los Angeles, San Diego, Santa Barbara, Sacramento. Right.
So it's all, he doesn't understand the history of this place. And I also think Trump, as far as veterans, I mean, to paint all POWs, when he said the issue, I don't like people that captured. You know what?
Yeah,
POWs is the one flag that flies with the American flag. It's the only flag that does fly with the American flag.
And you're a military man yourself.
And to do that is very offensive. And then his comments with women, I don't care what he tries to dance away. So the man does not have the character to be the president of the United States.
But let's talk then about how that impacts your Senate candidacy. Because, overall California is a blue state, and for a Republican to do well statewide, and they've done well statewide. We've had Republican U.S. senators, we have Republican governors. The top of the ticket, on the Republican side needs to be perceived at least as palatable or moderate. So where do you go with that, given where we are today in the presidential contest?
That's a very fair question. Right. If there's a guy like Trump at the top of the ticket, then I'm probably done.
Right.
Okay. But if we have somebody that's more measured, like a Kasich,
right,
or if we have a Kasich-Rubio ticket, I think it'd be interesting.
Have you endorsed in the presidential?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm looking at it.
Right.
And Jeb Bush, gets back on track. He's kind of off track
He's
right now.
had some issues with immigration questions and use of the term anchor baby, which is loaded on so many levels. Do you think this immigration conversation will continue throughout the 2016 race, be it in your Senate race or in the presidential race?
It will, and I think the answer is very clear in the Republican Party. Out of California has already laid out the plan for immigration reform. It's basically three things.
Which is?
One is residency, recognize who's here, make them residents, not citizens, residents. Deal with securing the borders, because with terrorism and everything, you need to do that. And the third is keep citizenship a process that's more efficient, but you still have to go through the process.
How do you convince your friends when you get to Washington that are representing Alabama and South Carolina with small immigrant communities that we should engage in this type of reform?
We're only going to solve immigration reform in the nation when California's senator, a Republican, Latino, can go talk to guys like Cruz and say, let me tell you how the real world is.
It's like Richard Nixon going to China. Only a Republican could open relations with China. Okay, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Please do come back and talk more about your travels up and down the state, because you really are getting a tremendous view of the Golden State. His name is Rocky Chavez. He is a member of the California State Assembly, also a candidate for the U.S. Senate. My name is Brad Pomerance, and you are watching Local Edition.